How would I describe myself? Well, my mom said it best, I think. She said, listening to me is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant.
You've heard ADHD a million times, usually as a joke, an excuse, or even a throwaway label. But if you've actually lived with it, you know it's not just can't sit still. ADHD shows up in curious contradictions. You can't bring yourself to clean your room, but you'll reorganize the whole house at 2 a.m. like it's nothing. You might forget what someone said 5 seconds ago, but you can laser focus on a project for hours without looking up. According to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, nearly 1 in 10 kids have ADHD, and a lot of them grow into adults who are still figuring out how their brain actually works. Treatment is critical, a combination of medication and therapy, but there's still one big question that everyone needs to answer. What kind of careers do people with ADHD actually thrive in? We got to spend the day with Ty Pennington at Wooden Leg Studios, a prop making studio in Atlanta. You can see the whole video here on the channel, so make sure and subscribe. Here we spent the day talking with students, walking through the creative chaos, and sitting down with Ty for a real conversation about his brain, his story, and how he turned a hyperactive kid into a career that none of his teachers or his mom would have predicted.
I had some struggles in my past, and they're sort of comical to me now. Supposedly I could do, I could run, hit an ottoman, do a backflip, and land in the crib. So I was pretty active at a young age. I didn't even get diagnosed till I was out of high school. One of the most defining moments for me as a kid is my mom was studying to be a child psychologist. She went to my elementary school to study the worst kid there was. And they're like, Mrs. Pennington, I don't think you really want to know who that is. I was such a distraction to all the other kids trying to learn. I wore my desk. I slapped Johnny on the back of the head. I climbed in and out of the windows. I was swinging on the blinds. It's definitely a struggle, especially when you're younger and it's hard to understand what you have. Learning is a lot more difficult. You don't learn at the same speed, and I think that certainly happened to me. I had to go through this thing where I had to have class participation, conduct. So if I got all the right grades, then I would get a token economy, so I would get a reward when I came home from school. All my learning was basically a fraction of what you're supposed to be learning because, I just wasn't able to focus. I was distracted so easily. I wasn't soaking in the knowledge. I wasn't learning at the same rate as the other kids, and I think what I was doing is rebelling. So if I'm not going to be learning, I didn't want them to learn either. My dad used to call me the king of non sequitur because I would just jump from one sentence to another one. In the conversation, even today, I'll be talking to somebody and I'll see or something will remind me of some other thing and I'll just stop that conversation, jump to another one, but then I'll jump back to that conversation about a minute and a half later. So the thing about ADHD is it doesn't go away, right? It stays with you even as we get older. ADHD can be a curse and a blessing. As someone who's easily distracted, with ADHD, you get ideas and creativity that you wouldn't, I think, if you weren't. I don't really look at it as a disability because it also gives you this ability to create things that you normally wouldn't think of because so many ideas are firing, you can't even get them out of your mouth quick enough. I was always drawing or creating or trying to make something, but I was doing it in the house, so I was drawing all over the walls, and at one point, my parents asked me, why don't you take it outside? So what they meant is if you ever destroy our piano again, you will be dropped off at an orphanage. So I decided to do something I hadn't done before, and I built I convinced the other kids in my neighborhood to borrow their dad's tools. My dad had 3 tools, but these kids had mechanics dads, so they had a bunch. And I convinced them to all work together, and we built a 3-story treehouse in a day. What am I good at? Because maybe, a 9 to 5 where I have to be consistent all the time probably isn't going to work out for me. I love a deadline. I like finishing a project, moving on, because if I don't, I'll just start 3 projects that never get finished. You may be slower in one section of your mind, but you're twice as fast in another. I'm one of those people I just have to get it out. A lot of people may think it's sort of a liability or disability. I see it as sort of a superpower. Yes, it can hinder your speed of learning, but what it doesn't hinder is your ability to create ideas and execute them as long as you stay focused long enough to get the project done. I would say I'm spontaneous. I think I would describe myself as that.
Getting diagnosed with something like ADHD can help you understand more about yourself, but it can also twist into something heavier, making you overthink, second guess, and doubt what you're actually good at. So how do people like Ty deal with that?
Anybody who struggles with ADHD, it's about finding an outlet where they can find something that they're passionate about that they can stay focused on. I can come up with ideas that other people couldn't, and they come quickly. The trick is executing those ideas all the way to the finish line. You wouldn't have the idea if you didn't have ADHD, in my opinion. The problem is you get distracted. a lot. That's what the word shiny objects is all about, because you could be talking and then you're like, squirrel. So yes, you may not be able to read a novel in the same speed as other people, but you can also create something with your hands that maybe that person can't do. Yes, it takes your moods go up and down. You're sporadic. You have a lot of big ideas, but I've also been able to really complete some of these tasks and show that it can be done. With ADHD, the most important thing is to find somebody who believes in you. And luckily, that happened to me, and because somebody else believed in me, I started believing in myself.
When you're actually supported, no matter where you come from, things can shift. In Ty's life, something other people viewed as a flaw ended up transforming into a superpower.
I realized, wait a second, I've got a gift. Because of your distractibility, you're also having so many ideas firing at you. So I think of it as a superpower, because not everybody has that ability to just have quick thoughts come like this. You may not be able to process them and turn them into something actual tangible, but 1 out of 10, you can. And sometimes that's where the magic comes from. That is your superpower. If I was a superhero, what would my superhero name be? I would say if there's one word that sums me up, it is chaos, like havoc or confusion. I love chaos because I can create something out of chaos. I'll find the solution. Well, you know what? Because with ADHD, you're constantly distracting or you're distracted. I think I would be distractor. If there isn't any chaos, I'll stick my foot in the fan to create. I would have these shiny objects where if I threw them, that I would distract my opponent so often that I could defeat them. Another activity I enjoyed was swinging from the flagpole. I think that's what my gift is that I can easily distract anyone because I'm absolutely so spontaneous that I jump from one topic to another. You keep pushing and you have a friend, eventually they'll go from your bottom to your feet, and then you're now about 10 feet in the air. And that's just because I'm easily distracted. But I can also distract anyone. Of course, I broke my radius and ulna, but that was part of the fun of being a child. Distractor. And then just shiny objects be flying around me constantly. So you think you're looking at me, but you're actually looking at this shiny object.
Ty's story illustrates that your uniqueness isn't a barrier. In fact, when you lean into it, it can become the thing that takes you further.
I don't think I would even be here without ADHD. So sometimes the things that make you struggle also make you stronger. There's been a lot of parents that say, oh my God, my kid struggles with it. And it's been so awesome to see someone like you who's been able to find some success with, your creativity, and you found an outlet. And that's the truth. When you have a creative outlet and you're able to make over something like a home or even help out somebody in the community, it changes the way you feel about the world, because it feels like you've actually done something to make a difference. And once you taste that, you want to do more of it. And it's one of those things that I think we should pass on to the next generation of skills trades, is that your job is about rebuilding, right? And it's not just about structural things. It's also about, making the world better than the way you found it. I'm very passionate about projects that help out a community or help out the homeless and shine light on things that, we should all do a little bit more to try and correct in the world. I just love the fact that there's a new generation of trades coming out that realize that they can work with their hands. They may have challenges like ADHD as well, but they can pass those, because once they get in there and they start learning and they can prove to themselves that they've got worth, they've got skill, they've got talent, then it's going to prove to other people and they're going to believe in them. And then that's what it is. It's the power that you get from accomplishing something that you believe in yourself. Sometimes it takes a little time to find the right soil, where your roots can grow and you can grow to your full potential.
If you've ever felt like your differences are a setback, they're not. In the skilled trades, those same traits can be superpowers. These careers need people who think in unique ways, solve problems fast, and bring real creativity to real work. If you want to see whether or not the trades are for you, check the link in the description or scan the QR code to get started.
For me, there's been doors of opportunity that have opened, and I just say walk through them, no matter what it is. I think every opportunity is going to give you experience. You don't know when you're going to use it, but it's going to come in handy at some point. So in my opinion, ADHD, it isn't really a disability, it's a superpower. And sometimes that force is strong with this one. By the way, another story. My brother and I... Hold on. So listen, hold on. Great story. So during the summer break, my brother and I lived